Hello, welcome to our poster presentation. The campus cycling environment on Fort Lewis College perceived through a socio-ecological perspective. Researchers in this project are Abby Scandon, John Mashburn, Momoheda Metsicano, and Dakota Sage. Our senior seminar group was overlooked by Margaret Shields. This research study is a replication of Margaret's own study, investigating the campus cycling environment of a large southeastern university from an ecological perspective. To begin, the purpose of this study is to further explore cyclists' ecological perspective on a small Southwest college, more likely with intrapersonal, interpersonal, and institutional factors, in which will be written throughout this research process. Also, focusing how to make the college campus a more sustainable environment for both active and aspiring cyclists. It seems that health-based motivators are simply not enough to encourage cycling as a suitable method of active transport. Therefore, the researchers of the study believe that with improved bicycle-focused infrastructure and a more knowledgeable student base about cycling safety, and concerned researchers will be able to create a more sustainable cycling community within the college campus. Cycling has shown to be a sustainable and beneficial method of physical activity and transportation. It has proven to be a challenging task in which people may choose to participate in or abstain from cycling. There are constant barriers such as environmental factors, health, safety, and infrastructure that prevent people from cycling on their college campus. In the end, it is a personal preference. Active transport through the means of cycling is an economic and simple way to ensure one is meeting the health-enhancing physical activity requirements. Cyclists use active transport for many reasons, such as health, recreation, or a simple way to reach their destinations. A factor that is explored which can encourage or discourage people to use that mode is infrastructure. Without roads that have set standards and rules, nobody would drive cars out of fear for their own safety, and the same goes for bicycles. Safety has been a common theme throughout this research study on why people do or do not bike. Poor weather, narrow bike lanes, obstructed bike lanes, and lack of sidewalk space are all considered safety factors and environmental factors, depending on the individual perception and confidence. Interactions with cars and other pedestrians can also be a safety hazard that has been identified. A lot of people may not feel comfortable cycling due to the fear of being in a motor vehicle accident. In some studies, distracted biking is also seen as a hazard. Health and well-being can also be primary factors for college students, in which it has proven to be an influence for lifestyle change and behaviors that could affect a student's future. Next, John will explain the methods used in the study.
To better understand the interpersonal, intrapersonal, and institutional factors affecting the cycling environment of the campus, a survey was created and sent out. This survey asked demographic questions such as gender, age, and ethnicity, interpersonal questions such as social perceptions or personal reasons to own a bike or not, intrapersonal questions like health and safety perceptions, and institutional questions about biking infrastructure on and around campus, like their views on bike lanes or bike racks near classes. The survey had 67 questions, covering all aspects of bikeability. Since the study was specifically for the Fort Lewis College campus, only Fort Lewis students and faculty were asked to participate. The study was not meant to analyze the city of Durango whatsoever. In order to reach as many students and faculty as possible, a variety of methods were used. First, the survey was emailed to many professors, who then sent it out to their students. Only 2 professors offered extra credit to those students, incentivizing them to complete the survey. Additionally, the survey was shared on social media by the survey conductors, asking their friends and followers to participate. The last way the survey was spread was by creating QR codes, printing them many times, and placing them around campus. These QR codes could be found on doors, in bathrooms, and on bike racks in hopes of getting people to complete the survey. The survey was available for about 2 months, and once it closed, a total of 225 people participated. And of those, 176 completed it. The survey took about 10 minutes to complete, so understandably not everybody completed it. Of the 176 participants who completed the survey, we found that 58, or 33% of our participants were male, and the remaining 118, or 67%, were female. Surprisingly, there was more than twice the number of females who completed the survey than males. A majority of our participants who completed the survey were the typical college age. 132, or 75%, of the survey participants were between the ages of 17 and 22 years old. The remaining 44 participants, or 25%, were older than the typical college age, ranging from 23 to 52. Since Fort Lewis offers graduate and undergraduate programs, we surveyed both, as well as the faculty. Of the 176, 166, or 94.3%, were undergraduate students, and the remaining 10, or 5.7%, were postgraduate or faculty. There is also a diverse ethnicity within our participants. 52.7% were white or Caucasian, 29.8% were Native American or Alaskan Native, 10.7% were Hispanic or Latino, and 6.8% were another ethnicity or preferred not to answer. We also asked about perception of health and exercise. Within the sample, 117, or 66.1%, reported their overall health to be good or very good. 40, or 22.7%, reported participating in moderately intense exercise for 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes. 37, or 20.9%, participated in vigorously intense exercise 5 days a week for at least 20 minutes. 49, or 27.6%, participated in 8 to 10 strength training exercises for 8 to 12 repetitions each day, 1 out of the days of the week. These results show that exercise was somewhat of a regular occurrence for the survey participants. Cycling descriptives was another part of the survey we explored. The prevalence of on-campus cycling was analyzed through frequency and descriptive statistics. Of the 176 participants, 56, or 31.8%, owned or rented a bike at the Fort Lewis College campus, while 120, or 68.2%, did not own or rent a bike. An overall analysis of females versus males was conducted, showing that 33, or 18.8%, of the survey participants were females who owned a bike, and 23, or 13.1%, were males who owned a bike. Likewise, 84, or 47.7%, of participants were females who did not own a bike, and 36, or 20.5%, were males who did not own a bike. This means that 28.2% of females surveyed cycled on campus, and 38.9% of males cycled. Additionally, there was a total of 30 questions asked on the survey that pertained to cycling, and our results showed that 12 of them were statistically significant. This means that there are 12 variables which showed statistical significance with bike ownership. You can refer to the poster on the table for a more exact showing of the dependent variables, statistical significance, correlation values, and means. Next, Lamahoira will talk about the discussion section.
All right, so I'll be discussing what these results mean for our study, touching on certain limitations, as well as exploring consideration for future research. So just to recap, the purpose of this study was to question the campus cycling environment and the different perspectives that may affect a small Southwest college, as well as compared to previous research studies. This research was focused on the socio-ecological perceptions and barriers that may prevent individuals from cycling within or to their college campus. These include environmental factors, health, safety, and infrastructure. These intrapersonal, interpersonal, and institutional factors were assessed through the research process. Many interpersonal factors were evident within this study, with primary concerns regarding personal safety, weather, and appearance. Weather was thought to be a major concern for cyclists, especially for cyclists that actively use their bicycle as a primary method of transportation. Though within our results, only one intrapersonal factor relating to weather and climate is considered statistically significant, which is the agreement that cycling is considered dangerous on slippery and wet roads. These results indicate that while inclement weather is prevalent, it does not seem to be a major concern for cyclists and non-cyclists alike. The use of helmets was also an interest within this study. The researchers believed that the price of helmets would be a concern for many participants, and many did agree that spending money on a helmet is not a primary concern. The results also show that while a good portion of participants agree that riding with helmets makes them feel safer, there is also a portion that believe bike helmets are less important for those that do not regularly cycle. as well as a handful of participants that believe they are not traveling fast enough to require head protection. Helmets were also a concern in regards to physical appearance, as studies have shown that cyclists and non-cyclists alike are concerned about looking silly in helmets. This concern was validated with all of our participants expressing that wearing helmets looks stupid, and many of them expressing embarrassment while wearing a helmet. So moving on to interpersonal factors. Interpersonal factors could be concerns about traveling or interacting with motor vehicles while commuting. The interpersonal factors that this study was focused on included riding with traffic, as well as the fear of getting hit. The study shows that while not statistically significant, 69.6% of our participants do agree that they are at higher risk of being injured by a motor vehicle while cycling. From there, let's look at institutional factors. Lack of or inadequate bike lanes, heavy traffic areas, as well as availability or lack of facilities to lock or store one's bike are all examples of institutional cycling factors. These are the barriers that could inhibit the need or want to use cycling as a method of active transportation depending on availability within the campus. The only statistical significance presented from this poll is that our participants agree that bike racks closer to offices or classrooms could improve the cycling community on campus. It would seem that institutional factors are not a major concern for both cycling and non-cycling participants. Now, there were certain limitations that affected our study. One of our major limitations included working around the new guidelines and regulations set in place due to the COVID-19 outbreak. This limited interaction and engagement with participants as everything was completed and submitted online. The length of the questionnaire also proved to be a limiting factor within the study, as not all individuals completed the poll. This in turn limited the data available for analysis. The size of Fort Lewis College is also a factor. The size of the college limits the ability to compare to other or surrounding colleges and universities. Now, these findings concerning cycling behavior for the campus will be presented to campus stakeholders to plan programs and campaigns aimed at increasing the number of cyclists. By collecting the opinion of both cyclists and non-cyclists, college stakeholders will be able to improve the infrastructure throughout the existing campus, as well as integrate cyclist-friendly elements into future consideration and potential construction. For future reference and research, the study could be shortened to potentially increase the number of completed surveys. So, in conclusion, many of the identified predictors, including perceived safety and improved infrastructure, may be used in intervention to increase cycling and are receptive to modification. Information about significant predictors of cycling in students can help target campus campaigns and other interventions. Application of the health belief model and socio-ecological model may be useful in developing such programs in order to relate to the population and infrastructure of the university environment. Thank you.